whilst I was preparing, I actually stumbled on the next speaker's master's thesis, and that was my reading for the evening. And it literally felt like I was reading a novel, the way it was so well written, and the way it was so accessible, and the way it was so insightful in terms of the challenges that women have. And to think that's an academic body and an academic piece of work that will remain for the rest of time, telling the history of a group of women in an obscure district far away. It was just incredible. And today you all get the opportunity to sit down now and just soak it all in. The next speaker is Dr. Bongi Kusi Osu, from the Department of Social Development and also a UKZN alumnus. From the dusty streets of Gombe in the Eastern Cape comes the inspiring story of Dr. Bongi, who despite almost insurmountable odds has reached the very pinnacle of academic learning, earning the title of doctor from the University of KwaZulu-Natal this year after the completion of her thesis titled Repercussions of Coronavirus Disease Pandemic on Women's Livelihood, a case study of women in agriculture and rural development in KwaZulu-Natal province, South Africa. Dr. Bongi holds 4 degrees with specialization in gender studies, namely Doctor of Philosophy, Social Science, UKZN Master of Social Science, UKZN Honors Social Science, UKZN Bachelor of Arts, Consumer Science, University of Zululand. Wanting to pursue higher education after matriculating, a penniless Dr. Bongi did odd jobs such as working at the petrol station to save for her studies. Her unrelenting spirit would lead her to conquer not only as a scholar, but as well as a professional, where she continues to make an indelible mark. The titles of Deputy Director, Gender Specialist in Sector Transformation, KZN Provincial Department of Rural Development and Land Reform, as well as Director, Gender Equality and Women Empowerment, Department of Social Development, are some of the crucial positions she has held. Passionate about community development and women empowerment, Dr. Owusu, who is also an activist, is heavily involved in initiatives aimed at developing her childhood rural community, such as the establishment of a foundation whose priorities include helping disadvantaged matriculants to pursue university studies. Recently, Dr. Owusu was part of a South African delegation led by the then Social Development Minister Lindiwe Zulu, which represented the country at the 68th United Nations Annual Commission on the Status of Women in New York City. There, she presented a paper on the South African position on child marriages. Dr. Owusu is also one of the key advocates for positive masculinity in 12 to 18-year-old boys. In September this year, she will be going to Thailand to present a paper on gender and sexuality, focusing on diversity inclusion in the workplace. She has also authored a book, Silent Pain, which focuses on the injustices and pains faced by widowed women after the passing of their husbands, available for pre-order. So I'll be ordering one of those because that was your master's. Last year, the University of India requested her to contribute to a book chapter titled The Role of Grassroots Leaders in Ending Poverty. Please may you all join me in clapping hands and welcoming Dr. Bongi Kusi Owusu.
Good afternoon, ladies. Ninjani. You're so beautiful, but you're a little bit tense. Are you not happy to be here today? Yeah, you must be happy. I heard Usis Norma saying since COVID you have not gotten a chance to meet and celebrate Women's Month. So today you need to be very excited because when was COVID? 2020 to to 2021, 2022. So yeah, it's that long, so you should be excited. Thanks, Program Director. Greetings, ladies and few gentlemen who are here. It is a great pleasure to be invited to this occasion today where we celebrate women's resilience, where we celebrate power and strength as women. This year, we celebrate women under the national theme, which says celebrating 30 years of democracy towards women and development. And the theme that UKZN chose, it resonates with what the nation is celebrating, because we want to celebrate women, and today we celebrate women who tell our stories. So it is not an easy thing to tell the story, because some of the chapters are not that pleasant. So I experienced that, Program Director, when I was writing the book, that there are things that I had thought that I have healed, but when I was writing those chapters, I cried again, because, you know, it brings up whatever you think that you have, you know, you have managed to heal on those issues. But it's good to tell your own story, because you know how best to tell your story rather than allowing someone else to tell your story. So it is very important, as Norma, as women who are in leadership, to be mentors to other young women who are still joining career, who are still studying, because you remember those who indulge in the holy book, which is the Bible. You'll remember the story of David, that it is God who mentioned David's name to Saul. Saul didn't know that there was this handsome boy who is very talented, but God had to mention. So it is our duty also as women to mention the name of other women in their house that is full of opportunities. We must to say that women have PhDs, not doctors of philosophy. They pull head down syndrome. So as women of today, we must make sure that we leave the legacy for women who are coming or who are still young. So we do as women of 1996 of 1956 who left the legacy, which we are still commemorating today. So it will not be good for me to maybe highlight on how this celebration came about. I know it's a very old story, which we all know, that in 1956, a group of women, about 20,000 women, marched to union buildings where they were fighting for past laws against other things. But what I like about those women is that they were united. So, which shows that if we are united as women, we can achieve great things. Those women had no cell phones, nothing, but they were able to organize a successful march. So for us today, we have cell phones, we have WhatsApp groups, but we do gossips on those WhatsApp groups. So it's high time that those WhatsApp groups, we use them effectively. We use them to empower each other. We use them to build one another as women. So as we are still, I think this year is about 68 years since they marched, but still we are commemorating that march because they left the legacy. The fight for them was against the past laws. The struggle is not over as women. As much as we see there are so many women professors, there are women like Sis Norma who are executive directors, but the struggle is not on ladies. We still need to fight. Although the fight is not about past laws now, we need to fight for emancipation, total emancipation of women. You know, when you see public service, you will find out that there were the research that was conducted, I think around 2005, where they wanted to check how the percentage of women who were in senior management positions. I think around that time, after 1994, it was about 5%. Then the cabinet took a resolution that no, we need 50% representation of women. You will be very surprised that after 30 years, we have not met 50%. So I think in public sector, we are about 43% of women. It is very hard to reach 50% of that. So which shows that the struggle continue. So it's not over yet. We still need to fight for inclusion. And for me, usually I have a problem when we are told as women to fight for inclusion, as if people are doing us a favor to include us. Meanwhile, there are legislations, there are policies that are saying women must be included. And also, it doesn't mean that they are doing us a favor. We are capable as women. So there is no job, there is no task that we cannot do as women. What we need, we just need to focus, we just need to put your mind on that, what you want to achieve, and you must not let your past experiences hold you back. So I'm sure that maybe you will get time to buy a copy of the book and you will get to know the injustices that I was exposed to as I was widowed at the age of like 27 or so. So there were so many injustices. I was a young widow, very naive. There were so many practices. Even my master's was informed about what I went through as a young widow. So there were so many things that I was told to do. But what is interesting, there were no men who were telling me what to do. It was other women who were telling me that at 4 a.m. you must wake up and go and bath in a running river so that you can remove the bad omen, because they believe that if you lose your spouse, you are carrying that bad omen. So imagine at 4 a.m. in winter, alone, exposed to dangers in South Africa, where there is so much gender-based violence, where there is so much rape, a 27-year-old alone going to the river to bath. So there are so many injustices that as women we experience, widowed or not. There are so many injustices. Even like in the boardroom, for those women who are in leadership position, you will find out that the language is very much sexist. The language doesn't accommodate women because they think you are just there just to, for malicious compliance. You are just there to ensure that they meet 50%. They don't see you as someone who is capable to do the job. They just see you, those patriarchal ideologies. They see you as someone who is good to raise kids, as someone who is a homemaker. So if now you are coming, you are the executive director, you are director for the National Department. For my in-laws would ask, who did she sleep with to get this position? So because they think that as a woman, you are not capable, you have to do the unthinkable for you to climb up the ladder. So this is high time, This is high time that we tell our stories in a way that we want people to know the stories that we have gone through. So we appreciate the fact that in South Africa, there are so many positive strides that we have achieved during these 30 years. But as I've said, that we are not there yet. But we appreciate the fact that women now, they can participate in decision making. Women now can be appointed as senior managers, although we are still fighting to have a female president, but I'm hoping that one day we will have the female president. And also, South Africa is characterized by three things, which is poverty, inequality, and unemployment. And again, people who suffer most of those characteristics are women. Every year I'll be very excited to see the graduates, and usually I follow graduations for UKZN. Maybe it's because I was also studying at UKZN, but I like graduations for UKZN. And I think for consecutive years, there have been more women who were graduating as compared to to men or boys. So I will be very excited for those young girls. And again, the reality will strike in ukuthi they are graduating today, and then they will be part of the stats of the unemployment stats. So I think it's time that as women, let us mentor our both girls and boys who are just graduated so that they are ready for workplace, because you will see that they also face injustices, they also face sexual harassment, especially those who will enter as interns. You know, some people will take advantage and be telling them that they will offer them a permanent position, but they'll have to sleep with them. So as women who are already working, women who've been there for so many years, let us at least mentor one or two girls so that they are ready for the workplace, they know what is happening in the workplace. And if it's possible, Sis Norma, I think UKZN can organize some form of financial literacy, because when you start working, you know, you make terrible decisions. When I started to work, I don't know how many clothing accounts I had, you know, because I was happy now that I have PESAL, so I was going around opening clothing accounts. And, you know, because I didn't have financial literacy. So after a long run, I said, no, man, this thing, it's useless. So let me just close this. So we need to have those sessions and prepare our young girls and boys who are ready to enter the job market. So, yeah, I think that is what I wanted to share with you, ladies, today, that the women of today, let us do like women of 1956. Let us be united, because united we stand. Let us make sure that when we leave this earth, we will leave a legacy. We will leave women who will be saying, because of Ubongi, I did not give up. Because of so and so, I did not give up. So let us be those women who are able to fix each other's crowns without telling the world how crooked it was. So let us be there for one another. And as women, let us not lose sight of what we want to achieve. You know, we are very lucky because we were born with those traits of the eagle as women, but sometimes that we use them in a wrong way. You know, we have vision as women. So you know the eagle, I've studied the eagle. When it sits on the tree, it is very attentive. It is very present, and it doesn't lose sight of what is happening around it. So as women, we have those traits. You know, Angiti, when your partner is cheating, you say, my instinct told me that he is cheating. Let us use those instincts in a correct way. Let us use those instincts not to lose sight of what we want to achieve. Let us be go-getters like eagle. You know the eagle, when he wants something, when it wants something, it will make sure it gets it, no matter the size, even if it's very far. But if she wants to just attack its prey, it will get it. So let us not lose focus. Let us, I think the most important thing, let us be there for one another. I'm sure that if we are united, we can go far. Thank you.
Wow, can we please have another round of applause? Thank you so much for such a relatable topic. I think what has stood out the most, and I hope we're all going to contribute meaningfully to this, is the importance of holding each other up and carrying each other through as women. Dr. Bongi's work as an academic, first and foremost, is so meaningful in telling stories of women whose stories would not have been told before. I'm so touched to hear that it was actually based on your own life. Some insight for those who don't know. For her master's thesis, she did a study on the challenges that were faced by women who were widowers, or widows, I beg your pardon, and it was in a group based in Kings HYO district, which is in Zululand. And I think parts of it, or the parts I had read, highlighted how tradition and culture are used to oppress women and to hold women back. And I think what she mentioned that really jumped out to me is that those things are not enforced by men, they are enforced by other women. And that's something that we each have to introspect about, that when you sit your girl child down and you tell them that, my child, you're going to get married now, or when you sit your girl child down and you tell them that, my child, you must look after your brother's school shoes, you know, what kind of things do you reinforce to your child then, you know? Sometimes we're responsible for our own oppression, and we need to be mindful of that in the language that we use about ourselves and in the language that we use about each other. So thank you so much, Sis Bongi, for such an insightful input. I also really liked, and I'd also like perhaps when you come back just to expand on that, in terms of her PhD. Now, a PhD is not an easy thing. I myself do not have one. I'm actually not a doctor, I'm an MD, which is a medical doctor, so it's the shortcut to getting the title. It's the shortcut. The PhD is the time and the commitment and the alienation and all sorts of things, so it's a great achievement. Now, her PhD topic is also very, very important. I said it's on the repercussions of coronavirus disease pandemic on women's livelihoods, focusing on agriculture and rural development. Now, this is important. Land is important. Land is life. Land is wealth. Land is stability, and it's a home. And how do we as women who have never ever maybe owned a farm, who have never owned property before, how do we find ourselves in an economy of land? How do we find ourselves and secure ourselves and uplifting in terms of an understanding legislature that speaks of land? I think food security is one of the UN sustainable goals, and as women now, we also need to take the space in terms of how do we occupy space. I think another thing Sis Bongi touched on that I'd just like for you all to be mindful on when we ask questions and when we interact is the fact that policy exists. Now, if policy exists, and some of the numbers that she gave, if you were to look at the representation in Parliament of representatives, the numbers have done incredibly well. There are so many more women. So why is there no transformation? You know, the women are there, and the policy is there, but somehow there's a disconnect. And a part of that is the fact that we actually don't know the doors that are available for us. So that goes back to opening the door for other women, and I think that that is really important, and I took that very, very seriously. So thank you for that. Maybe please give her another round of applause. All right. So, with no sabotage this time, I'm going to call back Sis Busi, so that we just mellow out, we remember we're at a celebration, we enjoy ourselves.
the taller I become, the farther you take my right away, the faster we run. You can't deny me, you can't decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. No, you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. The louder you take my right away, the louder I will rise. Deny my place in time, you squat a word that's mine. My light will shine so bright, so it will guide you. Oh, something inside so strong. Ooh, I know that I can make it. No, you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Ooh, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist you're just not good enough, when you know better, just look in my eyes and say, we gotta do it anyway. We gotta do it anyway. Something inside so strong. Oh no, I know that I can make it. No, you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist you're just not good enough, when you know better, just look at me in the eyes and say, we gotta do it anyway. We gotta do it anyway. Yeah. Something inside so strong. Know that I can make it. No, you're doing me wrong, so wrong. None of my pride was gone. Something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. So strong. So strong, oh no, something inside so strong, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so so strong.
If that is not everybody's anthem in the car on the way to work to fetch that one person who irritates you, and you have tears bowling down your eyes, thinking there's something inside so strong. Okay. Thank you so much, Sis Busi. For those of you who don't know the song, so that when you actually do go home, you can have a listen to it, I promise you it will become your anthem. It's the most empowering song I've ever heard. It's called Something Inside So Strong. It's by, well, oh, it's by Lyra. Oh, wow, that's incredible. So, another very strong woman. So please listen to it. I promise you it'll become your anthem too. Thank you so much, Busi, for choosing such an impactful song. Moving on with our program. Now I'm going to ask up, first I'm going to read her bio for you, and then I'm going to ask her up, so that when you listen to her speak, your ears are at attention because she has some incredible things to share with us. Professor Mariam Sidat Khan is a distinguished academic, rated researcher, internationally certified clinical sociologist, and author. She holds a prominent position in the field due to her extensive research and impactful publications. Notable is Women in COVID-19, a clinical and applied sociological focus on family, work, and community, which provides critical insights into the woman's pandemic experience. Prof. Sidat Khan's expertise extends beyond traditional sociology, encompassing applied and clinical aspects addressing real-world issues. Her career is marked by a commitment to advancing knowledge and fostering social change through rigorous research and contributions. Prof actively engages with communities and has been recognized for her contributions to the field of work. Her work has practical implications for policy and practice. Prof holds numerous leadership, board, and trustee positions reflecting her contributions and commitment. Her roles include Vice President, International Sociological Association, Association for Applied and Clinical Sociology, board member, guiding the association's efforts to promote the application of sociological principles to real-world issues. National, for those of you who are studying, listen closely, National Research Foundation Committee member, contributing to the evaluation and promotion of research excellence in South Africa. Commission on the accreditation of programs in applied and clinical sociology, board member, ensuring the quality and academic excellence and innovative research within the university's community. KwaZulu-Natal Children's Hospital trust trustee, supporting the Trust's mission to provide healthcare and improve the well-being of children in KwaZulu-Natal region. Prof. Sidat Khan's extensive involvement in these esteemed organizations underscores her dedication to advancing sociological research, education, and practice. A quote from her, "As women in the academy, I believe that lifting other women is not just a responsibility, but a privilege. By nurturing their growth and success, we build a stronger, more inclusive future for all women in academia and beyond. When women support each other, incredible things happen. Empowering another woman is not only an act of kindness, but a powerful catalyst for change and growth." Please put your hands together to welcome Prof. Mariam Sidat Khan.
Good afternoon. When Pamela Adams and Norma Zondo, reached out to me to be part of today's events, celebrating women who tell our stories, I couldn't say no to them, because it is through their office that they continually disrupt the narrative through events such as these. However, I would like to place on record both my delight and dissatisfaction for the challenge to follow the younger and remarkable Sis Vusi and the incredible Dr. Bongi, who taught us so much here today. Dr. Lusanda, there are many mothers, Gokos, who will argue with you about who is the real doctor, the PhD or the MB CHB. We need another afternoon to discuss that. You strike a woman, you strike a rock. I am humbled and happy to be here today. So I want to tell you why I never say no to another woman. Because I believe it can be a powerful stance rooted in solidarity, support, and the understanding of our shared experiences. I would like you to reflect for a moment. How many of us know the name of the woman, yes, I said the woman, that keeps your office clean? When was the last time you stopped to acknowledge the work of professional staff, caterers, administrators, security staff? I've learned in my 53 years how we treat people that can do nothing for us is a measure of our integrity. I consider myself a professional dragon slayer. I work hard to resist a bite of the poisoned apple that puts Sleeping Beauty to sleep. I resist the apple to maintain my integrity. As women, we have a responsibility to the women that came before us, to the women that paved the way for us, to remain steadfast in advancing opportunities for women that will come after us, which is why I express my delight. In January 2019 was a great start of the year. I was on sabbatical. My youngest son was in matric. My oldest was in his second year of university. I had a book coming out. I'd put in my application for professor, and I was flying high. Things couldn't have been better. In May 2019, on a regular Tuesday afternoon, I received a call that I was diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer. I'm fine now. I remember sitting at in the rooms of my gynecologist at Westfield Hospital, and often when people tell me you can't do something, it ignites something in me. I think it's genetic among women. I paused for a moment and I thought, what am I good at? I'm a great researcher. So I was also told I would have to wait for surgery because the two best surgeons are fully booked. So I paused for a moment and I took it in, and as we were walking out of the rooms with my husband, I emailed Claudette Kerseval, the subject librarian, and asked her to pull every article on early stage breast cancer, all 116 of them. And I spent the rest of the next few weeks going through each of them. I also started an advocacy campaign for early detection, a support group, and which I continue to maintain. The surgeons that were not going to be available had no idea what was coming, because one of the surgeons happened to be one of my son's very good friend's dad. So when I made the call, his assumption was that he'd forgotten his son at school, and I was dropping him off. And when I made my case, visited him that afternoon, and I was in surgery the very next day. So, in December, on a regular Tuesday afternoon, I received bad news. My application for professor was unsuccessful. I cried for 24 hours and wiped away my tears. And at that point, the next day I was leaving to go and train a group of professors to apply for certification in Europe. So I decided that day that before, I'm not sure why, I'm obsessed with these fairy tales, before the stroke of midnight, 2020, going into 21, I would produce 20 SAPSI accredited journal articles, book chapters, which I stupidly did. But I'm not sure if I would do it again. Okay, so celebrating women who tell our stories is a theme that is so beautifully executed in South Africa, because we get to recognize the profound contributions of women in shaping narratives across fields. This celebration focuses on women who use their voices to share their stories, to inspire, to educate, and drive change. So why shouldn't we say no? Because solidarity and sisterhood see women face similar challenges in the workplace, in our families, and in society. We've all had to demand a seat at the table. We've all had to kick down doors that have been closed. We've all had to hit our head on those glass ceilings. So by never saying no to another woman, we are contributing to a culture where women uplift each other. I'm often criticized, whether it's for an NRF rating, promotion, Prof. Sidat, why are you not the first author? Why do you always co-author? One of my responsibilities is to co-publish with my PhD students, my postdoctoral scholars, and even some of my master's students. I have sufficient publication, and being a first author on an article carries more merit for somebody at an early stage of their career. So, creating a supporting network, like I did through cancer, like I did with the failure of my promotion. We have an international research network with 120 women from around the world that continually support each other. We've produced books, we've produced special edition journals, and we've done some remarkable things, helping people apply for rating, helping people apply for promotion, funding. So these networks provide emotional support, professional connections, and opportunities that we wouldn't normally have. Now, generally human beings are selfish. We can't argue with that. But reciprocity is a very important thing. A few weeks ago, I very casually dropped a bottle of sparkling water on my laptop. I was flying out 48 hours later to a conference, and I firmly believe, because of respect and the way I treat people, I was able to access, through my research fund, a laptop that was delivered to me an hour before my flight at home. So reciprocity, helping others, creates a cycle of giving. So by saying yes, you may find that others are more willing to support you and return a favor when you need it. So advancing gender equality, collaboration over competition. When you collaborate, in a world where women are made and are pitted against each other, choosing collaboration over competition breaks down these harmful stereotypes. So the approach fosters an inclusive environment where women thrive together. Role models. What amazing role models we have here today. And by supporting other women, we set an example for those that will come after us to follow. This can inculcate a culture of inclusivity and mutual respect. How am I doing for time? No, you're great. Okay. So personal growth and fulfillment and learning about growth can only come is when we rise, if we lift others as we rise. Helping others brings a sense of purpose and fulfillment. So addressing systemic inequalities, patriarchy, combating marginalization. And women face many barriers. Women still carry the highest administrative roles, irrespective of their position in the academy or in professional services. And our voices are underrepresented. So by supporting other women, we amplify those voices. How often have we been in a room or a boardroom where we raise our concern and we have no support? We feel isolated. So the South African girl child, if we remain silent, will continue to occupy unequal spaces in the future. Their journey will be the same as ours, if not worse. And it will compromise everything done by the women that marched on union buildings. Women have worked hard at professionalizing higher education, private sector, the state, occupying leadership roles, all the time slaying dragons and resisting the poisoned apple. We are forced to confront the old boys network, sustained patriarchy, unequal pay, and this is intensified by socially constructed puppet masters, bootlickers, and queen bees. Mindful reflection on our role as women is imperative. So humor me as I talk about two sociological concepts, and I promise not to be very theoretical. So rating, visiting professorships, roles of presidents, chairs, awards, require a woman to work 20 times harder than men. We slay dragons every day. We have to resist biting that apple. Because when we bite that apple and we stop slaying the dragons, we begin to compromise our integrity. And the values that were held dear to a generation of exemplary women that came before us will be squashed. So my journey, like your journey, is peppered, for me, bullying, exclusion, failure, and success. And if we fail as women to align to existing pervasive exploitative practices and push against the narrative, it makes our journey a little more difficult. So then welcome imposter syndrome, where we feel like imposters. And it impedes the progress of women in any career, where you speak out and you feel isolated and then you are silenced. So whether you're an administrator, a support staff in finance, these play an important role. Subject librarians, finance officers, communications, media, operational security, cleaning staff continue to work in silos, and if we fail to come together as a collective, we disadvantage ourselves. So where does this imposter syndrome come from? And is it a myth? No, it's not. It began by it was developed in the 1970s by a clinical sociologist. And when we experience imposter syndrome, we feel unworthy of receiving praise, accolades, or acknowledgements. We come to believe that the awards or the recognition that we get, we're not worthy of it because we're made to feel like that. We experience anxiety and stress, fear of failure, because we operate within an institutional culture that perpetuates this all boys network and marginalized groups in male-dominated professional spaces, and women largely experience imposter syndrome because of this glass ceiling, because of queen bees, and I'll tell you about queen bees, old boys, bootlickers, and bullying. So imposters are aware of how others see them. It's clear to them that the accolades they have is falsely bestowed. And the imposter has constructed a false impression of achievement despite their success. We have all experienced imposter syndrome at some stage. However, the syndrome is gendered. Now, imposter syndrome is rooted in fear of failure. Victims of imposter syndrome are highly productive, overworked, and deliver beyond their KPIs. In their minds, failure is inevitable. Some of the consequences are stress, role overload, burnout. How many of us have experienced burnout here? Lack of confidence leading to depression, feelings of hopelessness, impact your clarity of thought. So we have two responses when we're pushed into a corner, when we feel like imposters, or we are devalued. We fight or flight. And for those of us that fight, it's a tough journey. And for those that take flight, they retreat into a corner and go through the system with the bare minimum. Now, who are these bootlickers? Bootlickers are unlikely to experience imposter syndrome because they support and sustain the systemic institutional culture, like the women who were telling you to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and go and take a bath in the river to cleanse yourself. So institutional culture capitalizes on the weaknesses of women and intensifies the grip on patriarchy. Bootlickers advance to leadership positions very quickly. Then we end with the queen bee. The queen bee is often at the top and doesn't take women along with her as she rises. She bolsters the systemic patriarchal culture. So from her throne, she repudiates mentorship initiatives for women's advancement, whether it's to the professorship or director positions. Queen bees add force to pervasive bullying in all institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and the privilege. All the best. Thank you.
Please may I ask for another round of applause for Professor now. Thank you so much, Prof. If I could tell you honestly, I've never met Prof. Siddharth Khan before today. But if anyone were to ask me to determine or to write or to say one quote in terms of how she lives her life, just from this speech, I would say it's audacity and determination. And that came across so strongly. And I think that's such an important thing that I've taken from you is that as women, we need, A, the audacity to do the things that people don't think that we can do. And then next, we need the determination to actually do them once we've had the audacity to say that we're going to do them. And I think that's really, really inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing how, and your ability to turn personal trauma into a triumph, not just for yourself, but for everyone else around you. I think that's a lesson to be learned. How often that if we're knocked down, we kind of retreat into a corner, and woe is me, and I'm going through such a hard time. Instead, she takes all her challenges and all her setbacks and she creates networks out of them so that whenever someone else encounters that problem, they never have to walk through the steps that she walked through. That's incredibly inspiring. The importance, another thing that stood out for me is the importance of networks in advancing women. You know, there's something that men tend to do, and they tend to do them really, really well. When they're at, I've always watched my own partner do this, is that when we're somewhere, I'll find him talking to someone, and I'm like, okay, who is this now that you're talking to? He's like, no, it's Bob. Who is Bob? No, Bob works here and here and here, and this is what he does, and I'm going to be meeting him next weekend because he's going to help me with this. Men have the ability to create networks on the golf course, at the pub, in a queue at Spa. They create networks. And these networks aren't based on friendship, they're based on mutual upliftment. What can you teach me, and what can I learn from you? And I think that's really inspiring. And if anything that we take from Prof. Sidat's input is that we really, really need to be conscious about creating networks. You know, you don't know what you can learn from the next person, you know, and be the next person. Are they a cleaner? Are they a security? Are they a director? You don't know what you can learn from the next person. And then just finally, I think the one that stood out to me, and it made me chuckle a bit, because over the weekend I was at a course for advanced cardiac life support, and I was asked a question, or a question was posed to the room, and I kind of mumbled the answer. I'm like, no. And I wait for everyone else to answer, and then someone puts their hand up and they answer and it's wrong, and the director's like, or the person who was giving the course was like, actually this is the answer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I was mumbling, you know? And that's what imposter syndrome does. It makes you question yourself, it makes you second guess yourself, you know? And majority of the time, men aren't like that. And you only have to look, I'll make an example. You only have to look at politicians to realize that. They will get up in front of a mic with the biggest audacity and say something that'll make everyone's eyebrows they make everyone in the room feel awkward. But they will say it with so much confidence that someone will believe it. You know, but they say it with confidence and conviction, and those tend to be the kind of people who you'd want to step back a bit more. And you know, it's such a difficult thing to overcome. And I think it's important for us to be able to identify when we are kind of letting ourselves down, you know, when we aren't taking up that space, when we're taking flight instead of fighting. So thank you so much, Prof. Sidat Khan, for bringing that to the fore. Thank you so much. Now, our next speaker, I told you, it's just PhDs here. It's just PhDs here. Our next speaker is Miss Abisoye Adeiga. I say Miss now, but very soon we'll be saying Doctor as well. She is a PhD candidate again from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, studying languages and arts education. She has served as the president of the Association of Nigerian Students at UKZN. She has worked as an online news editor at two of Nigeria's leading media companies, Channel Television and Africa Independent Television. Prior to beginning her PhD program, the ability of new media to connect, influence, and transform the globe intrigues Abisoye. She has also been a teacher of the English language and literature for more than 5 years. Please may we all join hands and welcome her forth.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adeiga Abisoye, and like the program director rightly said, I am a PhD candidate of languages and arts education at this prestigious university. Oh, what a journey. Okay. Okay, so this story is titled Chasing Dreams, a PhD Odyssey. My story. And I'm privileged to share my story with every one of you this afternoon. And Wow. I don't know where to start from because it's quite long, but I'm going to make it quite short. I'll summarize this interesting and challenging story of mine. This story started in the year 2020 when I applied to study PhD in English education at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. And unfortunately, in January 2021, I received a mail from the university stating that my name was placed on the waiting list because of the influx of application received at the year 2020, or in the year 2020 rather. I was devastated. I wept for days. I cried. I reached out to my supervisor, who actually later told me that it is very difficult for a name placed on the waiting list to eventually gain admission. So I should apply to other universities. And if I still want to study at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, I would have to wait to apply in the following year. And I kept applying until March 2021, same year, when I received the mail from the university that I'd eventually gained admission. So the journey began from there. I applied for my visa in Nigeria, and it took more than 5 months before I eventually got the visa. I came to the Republic of South Africa in November 2021. I met with my supervisors, and prior to that time, I'd been writing my proposal, we've been discussing, and nothing really happened. We had already submitted the intention to defend form for November, before the end of November 2021. I got to the Republic, I met with my supervisors for the first time, and they were like, okay, now that you're here, could you let us know your story? Tell us about your proposal. I presented the proposal to them, and they were like, no, I don't think you are ready to defend this kind of proposal because they will drill you, in their word, they will drill you, and at the end of the day, you might have to change your topic, you might have to work harder, you might have to do this, you might have to do that. And prior to that day, I'd received an email stating that I received a slow progress email, you understand? So, and if I do not defend before the end of November, I'll be suspended from my study. And my supervisor were like, okay, were like, don't worry, you will be suspended. You write a motivation letter the following year for reinstatements, and afterward, I'm sure they were so confident that I would be readmitted, which eventually happened. I was suspended, I wrote the motivation letter, and I was readmitted to study. And I began writing more topics because I had to change the other topic. So eventually, in March 2022, I started writing my proposal, a new proposal, and my supervisors, through their help, I was able to defend before the end of June because I was given the grace to defend my proposal before June 2022. But from January to June, I went through hell because, number one, my main supervisor was operated upon. She had a surgery on her eye or something like that. So we were battling the whole thing. We were going back and forth with editing the work and all. And at a point in time, I was scared of losing my admission. I'd thought to myself that this is over because before I came to the Republic, I'd resigned from work. My employers told me that it's either I choose the work or I resign. So that is why I said that this story is titled Chasing Dreams, my Odyssey story, my PhD Odyssey rather. So because I had to resign from work because of PhD, So I was scared. I was so scared. I was always crying. I was depressed, in quotes. And some quotes got me going in the course of the old depression. Number one is, the only person standing between you and your goal is you. And this quote reminded me that my success ultimately depended on my own determination and perseverance. And secondly, the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. So I've fallen countless of times, but I always pick up from wherever I fall, and I rise each time I fall. And I didn't allow my fall or my challenges to dictate whatever I want to do. I always make sure that I accomplish my goal. And that was what really pushed me through my proposal defense period. I defended my proposal in 2022 June. And after that, I applied for my ethical clearance, which was later approved in January 2023. I went to the field to get my data. Same January 2023, I started writing. I went through, so I actually experienced so many challenges writing, because at times my supervisors would say, I can't hear your voice. I need to hear your voice. And I'll be like, I've written so many things, and this is my voice. I don't know I don't know which other voice you need to hear. This is my own voice. And we had a lot of back and forth writing, and February this year, I submitted my thesis for examination. Because of the old drilling that my supervisors did, they made sure that the work was perfect, because they said that it's better the work is perfect when it goes for examination, so that the corrections won't be too many for me to implement in the work. And to God be the glory. It took me 2 days, because most of the comments gotten from the examiners were so awesome. They were superb. Like, I love the way you wrote. I love this. I love your introduction. I love your statement of problems. I love your discussion of findings. And let me now tell you, sorry, I didn't tell you the title of my thesis. It has to do with exploring how secondary school language teachers or English language teachers taught rural secondary school students reading for comprehension in Ogun State, Nigeria. So I decided to choose that particular local government area in Ogun State because of the fact that most of the students, because that is my local government, most of the students there were not performed poorly in English language and papers, especially their matriculation examinations. So I needed to know why they were performing poorly in English papers, especially in reading for comprehension passages. And I was able to go to the field to check out the methods the teachers used, the strategies they used in teaching, the approaches, and how they taught English reading for comprehension, why they taught reading for comprehension the way they did, and what methods, what did they do to teach reading for comprehension in those schools that I went to. I actually used 3 different, three different data generation methods. I used interviews, focus group discussions, and classroom observations. But I must also add that one of the biggest challenges I faced during my journey was overcoming self-doubt and imposter syndrome. I won't go deep down into that, because Prof had said so much about imposter syndromes. But the quotes that I said earlier and the help from my supervisors pushed me through negative thoughts all through the journey of my PhD. And I was also fortunate to have a strong support network of friends, family, and mentors, especially my supervisors, who believed in me and encouraged me to keep going. Their support was invaluable in helping me overcome challenges and stay motivated. May I also share one of the messages that I got from my supervisors prior to this program? And she said, big hearty congratulations to you, Adega. I admire your discipline, focus, and shared determination. In Isi Zulu, we say you are a true umbokodo rock. Okay. By the way, I saw you were one of the panel of speakers for the UKZN Women's Day. Keep on shining, girl. The world is your oyster. So looking forward to seeing you being capped. So, and before I drop the mic, I would like to say that I would be graduating on the 19th of September, 2024. Yeah. Yeah. It was a very tough journey. It was very, very tough. But thank God I was able to pull through with the help of people close to me, with the help of my supervisors and my family members. I was able to pull through. So on a final note, thank you. On a final note, I would like to say that as you embark on this journey, it could be your PhD journey, it could be your master's, it could be earners, you could be in your beginning stage, it could be the middle stage, or even the final stretch of it. I would like you to remember the incredible progress you have made, the challenges you've overcome, and the knowledge you've gained are a testament of your dedication and perseverance. Stay focused, believe in yourself, and celebrate your achievements. Your hard work and passion will undoubtedly lead you to success. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was so inspiring. Let's please give her another round of applause. I'm officially calling her doctor now. I think, if anything, the one thing that I've taken from your contribution is making those difficult sacrifices to invest in yourself. And how easy it is to make that decision as a woman. It's not an easy decision. We determine where we'll work, where we'll study, where we'll go, what we'll do based on our children, based on our partners, based on our families. You know, my mother, before going back to school, waited until I was in grade 11 so that she could raise me, have a fully functional child, before she decided to invest in herself, you know. And sometimes you have to take that difficult decision to leave a home that you know, to leave the comfort of a job that you know, to leave the comfort of the family that you know, to go to a place that has been in the newspapers for mistreating people like you. And because you believe in yourself and in your dream, you go and you do it. And you do it well. So congratulations, and thank you for that. One of the things that I said when we first started is that it's very important to have women tell stories about women. And what I tend to find is that when women tend to tell stories about women, they never leave children behind. And you can see that evident in your article. So what I then confer is that when you bring up and lift up a woman, you bring up and lift up children as well. It's interlinked and we can't divorce it from the other. So if you want to invest in the future, not just only in children, but also invest in women, you know. I really love your topic as it relates to reading for comprehension. I think whether it was last year or the study came out last year, but a similar study was commissioned by the Department of Basic Education, and it was conducted by UP. And it says that in South Africa, 81% of children in grade 4 cannot read for comprehension. Which means that when you do homework with your child, they can read it, but they don't understand what they're reading. And then how does this translate? It now translates to a matric pass rate where you're very happy for your child, they've passed, but they can't get into any institution of higher learning. So then you go to universities and you say, whatever is available as a course, you know. So this is what I'm saying about when women tell stories for women, they make meaningful change. Because now, Miss Abisoy is going to go back and she's going to say, this is the issue. And not only will she say this is the issue, she'll say this is the solution. And the trajectory will change for every single child who will come after the body of work she has contributed, will change a nation. So it's really important that we document, that we ask these questions, that we problematize our challenges as women. And I'm now going to open up the floor because we were not here for lectures, we were here to engage. It was for all of us. I'm going to open up the floor for some questions. I'm going to open up the floor for some comments. I'm going to open up the floor for some shared lived experiences. I will curb time a bit because we did start a bit late, but in curbing time and curbing speakers, I'm doing this so that we can get even more speakers, so as many as possible. So I'm just going to take by a show of hands, anyone who has any questions, comments, experiences, inspiring stories that we can all clap for. Not all at once. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll take a second set. Is there a roving mic or are we projecting our voices? Oh, yes, we're in the Senate chamber. Just.
I think everyone can hear me. What divides us? It's a question I think that Dr. Bongi over there makes. But I'd like to expand on that. As women, what divides us? What allows us to be divided? And how can we overcome it? You know, it's one thing to just stand up and say, well, you know, we should pull each other up, we should do all of that. But there's something really fundamentally wrong when we allow ourselves to be divided and we act on those divisions. And I don't know that you'll find a solution, but that's always perplexed me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next speaker.
Okay, let's see.
There we
This
go.
way. Oh my goodness. Hello. All right.
It's like Parliament, isn't it?
I'm telling you. Okay, well, my question also is for Dr. Bongi. Firstly, I might say that your journey is very inspiring, right? Then my first question is, have you always envisioned yourself into academia? If the answer is yes, how did you build the consistency into making sure that you become the person that you are today, right? And the following up question is, if the answer is no, because I know that sometimes we find ourselves in spaces that we never anticipated. However, as women, we do exceptionally well, right? So if the answer is no, then my question still says, what was your driving force, or still is a driving force, that made you to become this remarkable person that you are today? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to extend some grace and amnesty because it's your event. If these questions have roused you up, have reminded you of something that you'd like to ask, have reminded you of a conversation starter you'd like to throw out to the room, please, by a show of hands, I will extend to more questions. Or maybe the responses will rouse you and I'll come back for a second set. So I'll throw the questions back to the panelists. What divides us as women?
Okay. Thank you. You know, it's very difficult to say what divides us as women, but I would like to share the conversation that I once had with my male colleagues at work. We also responsible to establishments forum. So this male colleague of mine said, you know, as men, we sit and establish patriarchal systems and we don't implement them because we know that you as women, you are the ones who are going to implement those patriarchal systems that we are developing. So as women, I can't say, because there are so many things. Sometimes it will be through jealousy, that you know you are jealous of your fellow women, that you will be divided. And you would be like, you know, there will be so many stories that other women are saying, but most of the times those stories are not true, that they are saying about you because they are jealous. And I think also with this PhD syndrome, pull head down syndrome, so that what does she think she is? So all those things, so even maybe like even the class, the way we were raised,
it's very difficult to point at one thing that I would say, this is something that divides us, let us deal with this thing as women. So there are so many things that contribute to us being divided as women. And you'll see even like when they were busy trying to elect the female president, there were women who were against the election of a female president. They were supporting a man because it shows how divided we are as women. Thank you. Yeah.
It's open to everyone.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thank you. I think, thank you for your question, Indu. And I think by ending it with there's no solution or we don't have the answer was an invitation to me. So what divides us as women? In my 53 years, this is what I've realized, is that my success does not cut off a space for your success or the success of everyone else. So this belief that we can be genuinely and sincerely happy for other people and for other women. When we are occupied with the view that there's only that amount of space on the pedestal or at the top or limited space, then women are pitted against each other. And one of my greatest successes has been collaboration and cooperation with other women. I've learned so much, I've grown so much, and I think what divides us is not realizing the strength that we have as a collective. I just wanted to respond to the second question before I hand over here. For me, I don't think you ever envisage yourself as an academic. I decided to shift from the corporate sector into academia because I thought it was more conducive to being a mother. Oh boy, was I wrong. But, I got there, I arrived, and I stayed. So,
in my opinion, I think what divides us as women is not, like Robert said, not knowing our strength. But aside that, I also think that some women feel this stuff is not our own thing to do. It's meant for guys. But it's better for us to have a holistic view about stuff, about ourselves and our environment. And by doing that collectively, we'll be able to achieve greater goals, not minding what the society feels or thinks about us as women. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There was a second question of, has academia always been your vision?
Did I envision myself as an academic? Yes. I don't have a job in Nigeria. I was a journalist, but right now I'm finding it interesting being an academic. I've started writing, I've started publishing. At the moment, I've written 10 papers. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. No, for me, definitely not. I didn't. I think for me, as I've shared when I was presenting, that it was based on what I went through. So I wanted to find out that what is, the papers are saying about whatever that I was experiencing. So I just became curious to find out more because I knew that there's a constitution which says I must not be discriminated based on my gender. So, but why am I being discriminated? So I wanted to know more. So hence, because like my junior degree is not even in social sciences, it's a BSc. So then I wanted to know about this women empowerment, these gender issues, and I thought, no, I'll just do the honors and leave it like that. So after the honors, then I started dating. I met this man who was like very into academic. So then he just pushed me, said, no, you can also do the masters. I did the masters. After the masters, I said, why not PhD? So I did the PhD. So it was not, I didn't even want it. Yeah, but now that I have PhD, he's even pushing me, you must start publishing, you must do this. So it means I will never rest when he's there.
Absolutely. You rest, you rust. I think the one thing that has stood out for me is here before us are a group of women who have contributed to a body of knowledge that speaks to us as women. When you look at the PhD thesis of Dr. Bongi, when you look at the publication of Women in COVID-19, a clinical and applied sociological focus on family, work, and community, when you look at a study that speaks to literacy and understanding and education, all those things speak to us. And because there are all these big words like literature review and methodology, we then don't read them, but they tell our experiences. If one or each of us were to reflect on our experiences of COVID and our experiences as women, we would all say that at some point in time, as a mother, you had to play the role of being a nurse because someone was sick in the house. At some point in time, you had to play the role of being a chef because I don't feel like eating this today, I want to eat this today, and you just have to make it happen. In fact, some of you are probably sitting here thinking you didn't take the chicken out the freezer. What are you going to do when you get home? As a mother, you have the responsibility of being a teacher because there are Zoom lectures going on, and you cannot for the life of you remember the last time you did grade 10 mathematics, and now you're having to try to remember because you don't want to show your child that you're also struggling. So that was my role as the aunt in the house, is that I have to actually show these children that I know grade 5 maths and I'm not, So these are lived experiences for everyone in different ways and in varying degrees. And now they've been put into libraries for us to reference, for us to go back to, and for us to reflect on how far we've come. I always say the women in 1956 had one privilege, Their privilege was that the enemy was clear and the enemy was defined. The enemy was apartheid laws. The enemy was an oppressive government. The enemy was anything that held them back from uplifting themselves and their families, And after that changed, it became a bit difficult for us to kind of find out where we fit in. They always talk about South Africa's oppression as being a triple oppression, one of race, one of class and how much you afford, and one of gender. And what we tend to lack at times is the intersectionality to bring these all together, to say that as a white, poor woman, my challenges are actually similar, not the same, but equally as important as an Indian middle-class woman or a black upper-class woman, The importance is intersectionality. Understanding that your struggle, although not the same as mine, holds equal weight, And when we come together for your problem and we come together for my problem, we've solved our problems, And that's what I think sometimes when we talk about what divides us is the fact that when someone else talks about BEE, it doesn't relate to you. And when someone else talks about being black, it doesn't relate to you. And you don't want to kind of fit yourself into there, Some kind of emphasis in terms of our struggles are different, and they're going to be because we are different and we are socialized differently. And what we do need, though, however, is to come together and build a society and build a network of people who uplift each other, you know. Sometimes the challenges that someone else has, you've gone through and you've soared through them, and they actually weren't difficult for you. I always make a joke at home how my challenge and my biggest challenge has been ukupheka uphuthu, you know. And it eventually took for me to go onto Facebook one day and write a Facebook status on how on earth do I cook uphuthu. And it was so funny. It was something so simple, but so many women and even some men chimed in. No, put in the water, make sure that it boils, and then don't open your pot afterwards. And someone else would say, no, open the pot and stir it, but then don't open the pot. Or add, you know, and it was people coming together to address an issue. Now, even when there is a function, please invite me, I will cook putu for you, you know, because it was a collaboration of all these women coming together to uplift me, you know, on something that may have seemed nonsensical to them, but was actually really important for me, because I lived by myself and I just really wanted mass, and I could not make uputu, you know. So things like socialization as well, I think, is very important. And it's something that we need to be cognizant of when we raise our girl children. We raise young women in competition with each other. We raise young women consistently vying ultimately for the goal of marriage. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you present yourself. I cannot tell you the amount of times in life I've always been told, you're too combative, you laugh too loudly, you need to be a lady, you need to be more subdued. And all of these things have been socialized to be more deserving to someone else, you know, to look better, to present better, to sound better. And it's only when we're cognizant of the fact that we're actually doing these small microaggressions that force young girls to see each other as competition. And once we break that, is when we'll actually we'll change the tone in which we ask the question from being, what divides us, from us wanting an answer, to us actually asking it as, what on earth actually divides us? You know, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's no barrier that keeps us from supporting each other and uplifting each other and opening doors for each other and keeping those doors open, you know. There's no barrier that keeps us from reaching out to pull that next person in, not because they're my friend, but because they're actually capable, you know. And that's actually a question that men don't ask each other. I come from a background of politics, and whenever I contest positions, or whenever any woman contests positions, there's always the question of capacity. Does she have capacity? What are her credentials? Is she good enough? Capacity, capacity, capacity. But when men are raised, it's just like, he's my brother, he's my comrade, he's my leader. You know, no one questions it. Men have that audacity. So let's develop the audacity. Let's develop the determination to take up spaces whereby sometimes we actually don't fit in, but we go in and we make it work, you know. So thank you so much to all the speakers today. And thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you so much for actually making it permanent. It's not easy. I mean, you've shared your journey to a PhD. It's not easy, but all three of you have persevered through to make it there so that other women can learn from it. And funnily enough, just as I close, we actually all do research. If you think of that one page of the Highway Mail that comes out with specials from Macro and Spar and Checkers Hyper and Boxer, and we all do that research of deciding that the margarine is cheaper here and this is cheaper here. And then we collate a shopping list that involves a full day of grocery shopping. That's research, you know. So, and funnily enough, there's a community now on Facebook called One Family, One Stockpile that was started by a woman who decided that when we do this research and we share it, it helps others. So we are all capable. On the small questions that bother us, we are all capable. It's just about putting it out there for the next person to take. So, moving on now to a part of the afternoon that everyone is going to enjoy, everyone is looking forward to. I will now invite Sis Bandile Mlaba. I love seeing her at UKZN events. I love seeing her, and you're going to hear just now why you love seeing her at UKZN events. I'm going to invite Ms. Bandile Mlaba, I'm going to invite Pamela, and I'm going to invite our Executive Director, Ms. Norma, forward, please. Let's also give them a round of applause. I promise you, you'll be clapping very loudly for Bandile.
Good afternoon, ladies. You all look so beautiful. You like flowers. I was looking through, I'm like, oh my gosh, some of you have got beautiful hats on. You know, it's lovely being a woman. And this is my favorite month because my mom was born in August and it's also our Women's Month. So please give yourselves a round of applause. Okay, so as I've been introduced by Umangete, I say this because that is also my surname before I got married. So I am Ubandile Mlaba. I'm from the Capital Hotels and Apartments. And you guys, as UKZN, you support us quite a lot. And thank you so much for the business, but keep it coming. So I'm here to give out prizes. But before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for the invitation and for being part of this beautiful event. I feel very favored. I am so, you know, I feel like I can get out here and go out there and do whatever that I want to do. Nothing can stop me. Whilst I really feel empowered, I feel like, I mean, you guys have been through a lot, and I thought my journey was hard. And then when you listen to your stories, it's like, wow, you know, I can do it. So thank you so much for being part of this beautiful event, inspiring us. And I know that together we can make a change, which is something very beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, and the lucky winner is, drum roll, number 56. Oh, we've got a winner. Okay, so you have won yourself a breakfast for two at the Capital Zimbali in Balito. And the second winner is number, drum roll, 78. Oh. You have won yourself a breakfast for two at the Capital Pals in Umhlanga. Okay, thank you so much, ladies. Thank you very much. You know, they say in Zulu, "Uniki isandla, uthathe ingalo yonke." You know that saying. I give you a hand, you take a whole arm. So we do give out a lot of prizes, but we've just been given a little bit too much. And you know, Pela, we've got people who report to, and they're like, "Hi, Bandile, no, last week you did this, the week before." So just two is fine. But there's more where that came from. You guys know that. So please do keep supporting us. And it's always easier for us to also negotiate with the bosses to say, hey, UKZN is doing this event. Please, can we assist and support them? So please, thank you so much for your business. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, so it's not over. It's not over. I'm here to tell you that there's still a chance for you. If you are number 31, look carefully at your number. Number 31. I feel like I'm reading the lotto numbers. Number 156. Come through, please. Number 156. There are too many giveaways here. There are too many giveaways here. Guys, whispering to me does not help. I can see people desperately saying, number 221. What a beautiful dress. This is a showing of Oprah. Everyone's a winner. I'm a winner, you're a winner, everyone's a winner. Number 156. You gave it to me, didn't you? Was 156 call? Oh, sorry. Oh, goodness. See, she told me 156. Number 236. Oh, sorry, 235. Number 147. Number 53. Number 137. 137? Number 73. Number 82. Yes. Number 139. Number 193. Number 230. Number 129. Number 98. Number 98. Number 130. It's always so funny how when you start reading, you go 100, everyone with 100 perks up. You go 30, everyone perks up. And you go 38. All right. Who's feeling lucky? Number 41. Had we not done this yet? Yeah. Number 232. Number 76. All right. It's coming down from 72. All right. So I think we've learned some of us are lucky and some of us work hard. Okay. Some are lucky and work hard. So now I'm going to give the hard workers an option. Listen, I have 2 more left, and these are in front of you. This is the real deal in front of you. All right. So I'm going to step away from the lucky. The lucky can go play the lotto now. And I'm going to pose some questions. On what day in 1956 did women march? Oh, no, I'm not picking. Oh, no, I have to pick. I didn't think about that. Okay, that hand was up first.
Wait. You said some of us are lucky and they also work hard. So you can't punish me for having both. It's not fair.
Oh, no, you've won already.
It's not.
Okay. So if you've won already, sorry. Or not. Okay. I see my questions are too easy. I have to up the ante a bit. Okay. So, this is so hard. This is really hard. Do I have any suggestions? All right. All right. So, across the world, in some places, we are more ahead in terms of women empowerment and women support. Currently in the world, there is a lady who is running for president. That was the first hand. Before I finished even asking the question, that was the first hand. Who is the lady currently running for president in the United States of America? There we have our winner. Yeah, she should come on. Okay. So, before I do the next one, there's just a small announcement. And a hint is the announcement is based on the next question. On the 31st of August, this Saturday, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., to 4 p.m., I apologize, at Howard College Theatre, there will be a memorial lecture to honor Professor Fatima Mia. As I finish the question, who was Fatima Mia? Why is there an objection? Oh, from the department. Some insider trading. All right, there's a hand. Who was Fatima Mia? She was a political activist. Well, that is true. That is true. And okay, you can call a friend. You can call a friend. Yeah. All right, so your friend was not Google. You, okay, there's a hand at the back. She was? Speaker in democracy. I don't know that, was she? Okay, so we'll give it to her. We'll give it to her. All right, so I will take that one. And the reason I'll take that one is because it's not true. Wait a minute. Let's call the resident expert. I'm calling the resident expert, mind you. Prof worked under Professor Fatima Mia. So when I say I'm calling the resident expert,
I think we should let Indu take the question and see what she has to say.
okay. All right. So we're on pause.
Professor Fatima Mir was a political activist, yes, but she was also a professor of sociology here at the university, and that's where we all know her from. She was a fascinating woman, and I'll tell you a story. Her house used to get raided often. Hear the story, I won't take the prize. Her house used to get raided often by the special branch. And you used to have these young, and she tells the story, you used to have these young white policemen who used to come in at the dead of night to look for what they thought were like really boogeymen in this house. And so the one day she was having around a table with her family, and the guy was looking under the table, and she asked him, "What are you looking for under the table?" He says, "No, I'm looking for like communists, you know." And so that was the full extent. The fact that she couldn't eat a meal without the special branch breaking in to see who her guests were was in itself a tragedy. But the fact that they thought communists hid under the table showed the ignorance of the day. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
So she was the first person of color hired by the university, the whites-only University of Natal, to lecture sociology, and every lecture she delivered was attended by the special branch. She, along with Professor Paula Zulu, were the founder of the Institute for Black Research, which produced the only authorized biography of Nelson Mandela.
All right. So come forth, get your prize. What do you mean no? No insider trading. More prizes. So there's a prize for everyone else as well. We're having tea. But just as a reminder, I had shared to you that it is important to build networks. It is important. It is important to put up memorial stones and to go back to them to remember the past. So, wait, where are we all going? Okay, all right. So because we ran late, I will allow it. But all of us are invited to the Professor Fatima Mia Memorial Lecture. It will be on the Saturday, the 31st of August, from 2 until 4 p.m. at Howard College Theatre. We apologize for not keeping time. We thank you for all coming. I'm going to ask Dr. Manoshi Perumal to come forth and give us our final remarks.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I promise not to be long, and thanks for waiting till the end. It's my absolute pleasure to extend our deepest gratitude to all of those who have made this event possible. What an amazing theme this is, celebrating women who tell our stories, and I'm sure we all have a story to tell. Firstly, I would like to thank our esteemed guests and wonderful speakers, Dr. Bongi Kusi, Professor Mariam Sidat Khan, and Ms. Abisia Adia. We really appreciate your inspiring and thought-provoking words and insightful contributions. Your presence and powerful messages have added immense value to this occasion, reminding us of the strength, the resilience, and potential of women, and is certainly much appreciated. Thank you for that. I would also like to thank our very vibrant and spontaneous facilitator who has been thinking on her feet, on her toe, Dr. Lusanda Kanyazwane. Thank you very much for that. The opera singer, Ms. Busi Shezi, Ms. Noma Zondo, the Executive Director of Corporate Relations, and HRD for the catering and tea, the high tea service. Of the gifts for the lucky draws, the College of Humanities, the beautiful earrings from Woza, College of Health Sciences, the Lindt chocolates and corporate gifts, College of Agriculture, Engineering and Sciences for the corporate gifts, Corporate Relations for corporate gifts as well, Ms. Bandila Mplaba, Sales Manager, the Capital Pearls for the breakfast vouchers, Magic Pen for the fruit baskets. A special thanks to the organizers and volunteers, Ms. Pamela Adams, Corporate Relations, for all the coordination and securing of sponsorships of gifts as well. Your dedication and hard work has certainly ensured that today's event was a grand success. Without your commitment, none of this would have been possible, so thank you for that. Lastly, and most of all, I'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for each and every one of you for attending this function. Your enthusiasm and engagement throughout the event have been truly remarkable, making this celebration vibrant and meaningful. You now can give yourselves a round of applause. Lastly, let us not forget to carry the spirit of this day forward. Let us continue to uplift, support, empower each other, not just today, but every day of our lives, not embrace this PhD syndrome we continuously hear about. Thank you all for being a part of this incredible, memorable occasion, and here's to the continued progress and success of women everywhere. Thank you. Thank you.
As you leave, we're going to invite Ms. Busi again to sing us off, dance your way to the car, and please help yourself to something to eat on your way out. Bum, boom.
Sakukuka satibe nanti patapa sakukuka satibe yo patapa sakukuka satibe ya yo mama ay yo mami pata ay yo mama ay yo mami pata Elele sakukuka satibek nanti patapa sakukuka satibek yo patapa sakukuka satibek nanti patapa sakukuka satibek ayo mama yole ayo mami patapa ayo mama yole ayo mami patapa Yelele sakukuka satibek nanti patapa sakukuka satibek arena mama sakukuka satibek lele sakukuka satibek ayo mama yole Ay, mami pata pata. Ay, mama yole. Ay, mama yelela saguquka sathibe nanti pata pata. Whoop! Bossa!
Are you serious? Oh, thank Let me say it. Okay.